out that you used to work for J-Lo.
Yes.
Oh my God. You must spill the tea on that.
So I did. I worked for Jennifer Lopez.
Oh my God.
So at the time I was on Latino 96.3 when it was called Latino. Now it's called Mega. But I was on a show with Tattoo. I don't know if you remember Tattoo
I
when
know
he was
Tattoo.
on. Yeah, I
Shout
love
out
him.
Tattoo.
Shout out to Tattoo. Yes, that's like my brother. He's doing a lot of stuff with Ice Cube and the Big Three. So shout out to Tattoo. But we were, me and him, we're like brother and sister, like for reals, brother and sister. So like we go back and forth on the
Maybe
air.
he'll come on the show now. I've been asking him forever.
He's so busy traveling and stuff. Every time I see him, I'm like, what city are you in now? Like, he's so crazy. I love him. But we would always go back and forth. And I was going back and forth with him on the air. And Jennifer heard it and loved it. And I told her assistant, I need that girl like on my team, like on my show. And so we went and I auditioned, even though like she said, I need that girl. I still had to go through the audition.
Show?
It was called The Collective on Nouveau TV. So it's me, DJ Ski. It was Yesy Ortiz. It was all these different like personalities in Los Angeles, and it was a like fashion, music, pop culture driven show.
Oh.
So my segment, I covered hip hop. So I covered hip hop. Angela Johnson's husband was on
Joe
it.
Grande. No, wait. That's her cousin. Sorry.
Yeah, Angela Johnson's husband.
Shout out Joe Grande, but that's their cousins.
Yeah, he's
sorry,
cool.
they're cousins.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
He was big in radio too. However, her husband's a stylist, so he had a fashion segment.
Her husband.
Yeah, so there was all these different people in LA, and I auditioned for it, and I got the gig, and so I was working with her, and sometimes it bothers me when I see her get so much hate on social media.
She didn't make you sign an NDA. You have to.
Cool as shit.
You have to say nice things about her.
No, not at all.
No.
Not at all. She is so cool.
You think that she chooses who she's cool to?
I think everybody chooses who they're cool to.
Yeah, but she seems, I don't know. You're right. I don't know her. So.
No, I think everybody chooses who they're cool to because we are not as big as J-Lo, right? But we have been in situations where people try to use us. People try to come over on us. People want to befriend you because they have a different intention, and you catch it, and you start seeing little things, right? So I can only imagine to the degree of what she would see, because she's Jennifer Lopez, and everybody wants a handout, especially, I mean, we've been in this industry, we've seen people want handouts, so I could only imagine what it must be like to be in her shoes. But she was so nice to me. She was so sweet. She taught me my worth. She really did. And I will always credit her in teaching me my worth.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So we got a fan here, guys.
Yeah, I am a big J-Lo fan. I will never say anything bad about her. When I first got the gig at the Collective, you got to understand I'm in radio. And in radio, we got to do our own things. I edit my phone calls. I get my winners. I work my own boards. I'll book my interviews, do my research. Everything's us, right? We do it all. Yeah. With her, she was like, this is your assistant. This is, your PA. This is your producer. And I had this big dressing room, and I had my own makeup artist, my own hairstylist. And I don't know if because we're so used to doing our own work that I was like, oh my God, all these people for me, I'm not used to this. Yeah. I'm used to doing my own makeup, my own hair, getting my own outfits. You just do it yourself because you have nobody else. And we're on a cusp where we're making good money, but I don't have enough to afford for somebody else's lifestyle and support them, right? So I have to do everything myself. So when I had all these people to assist me, if you will, I wasn't used to it. And I remember they're like, this is your assistant. If you want coffee, let her know. She'll go get you coffee. But I'm Mexican. Like, we do shit ourselves, right? We don't like have assistants like that. Sure. And I'm not bougie by any means. So I went and got my own coffee. Like, it was cool. I went and got my coffee, made it. Like, it was no big deal.
And just all bored in the corner. She's like,
and they come to me and they're like, what are you doing? You have an assistant for this. And I'm like, dude, I'm so not used to this. This is so freaking weird. And when I got my first check, I was like, I just need to make sure this ain't a mistake, because I don't want them to say I cashed a check that was a mistake and I'm trying to steal or something. So I was like, is this really the check? And they're like, yeah. And Nouveau TV, which is the brand that she owned, the network, she was like, and so was Linda Lopez. Her sister ran a lot of it. And they said, this is what you're worth, CeCe. You need to know your worth. This is your worth. This is why we treat you like that. And I was so taken aback that, first of all, it was Jennifer Lopez, who is the biggest superstar, international superstar in the world. She's one of them. But the fact that it took them to really open my eyes, and another Latina that sat me down and said, "This is your worth." Because I was in an industry where I didn't know my worth. I didn't know if I was worthy. I was doing all I was cleaning the studio. I was doing all the work myself. And I just was like, yeah, I just didn't think that, I see other females get treated like that, but it was like, oh, that's them. That doesn't happen to me. I don't get treated like that. So when she did, I was like, wow,
Wow.
this is amazing. And she gave me that confidence booster that I was like, you're right. If J-Lo's going to treat me like this, y'all got to treat me like this. Right.
Yeah.
And then I went to her house and she had a barbecue and she invited us. And it was so cool because I was sitting there, and you got to understand, like, my family's from Compton. You know what I mean? We grew up on food stamps. And so I'm like, oh my God, I'm at Jennifer.
Was it in LA?
Yeah, it was in LA, but it was in the Valley more.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, this is Jennifer's house. And low key, I'm not going to lie, I did want to take, like, I went to her bathroom, was going to take a picture and a little video, but I didn't want to look creepy doing it in the bathroom, so I didn't. But I remember sitting down and I just was like, you just sit there and you're like, wow, this is so crazy. And she sat next to me and she's like, and it's funny because I'm looking at her the way I'm looking at you. And I'm just like, everything was flawless on her. It looked like she looked like in a magazine. She looked pretty. And she just was like, are you hungry? Did you eat anything? Did you? And she's veg, they had vegetarian dishes and stuff. And I was like, oh, I'm not vegetarian. I love to eat. And she's like, oh, there's other dishes on the side. Go have those. Serve yourself. So it was like, I got that hospitality from her, but I always, it was weird. She balanced it. She was, made sure we were good, but you also never lost sight that she was a boss and she was very
Wow.
businesslike all the time. So I still got that from her. But yeah, it was just like one of the coolest moments. And then the network kind of dissolved. And then that's when the show dissolved. And then I kind of dabbled more, like went back into radio and really focused on that. But it was a part of my journey. It was a chapter in my life that helped me grow. And that really, at that time, I needed that feel good, that confidence booster. And Jennifer gave it to me, by deeming me worthy of working for her network and the fact that she was cool. So like, yeah, I haven't, I haven't worked there, with her for 7 years. So it's been a long time. But I'll never say anything bad because I don't want to talk about somebody bad because everybody else is talking about them, especially when that person really helped me, you know what I mean, and gave me something that I needed at that time. So she's cool, and I see, and I understand you. There's always sides to people, and there's different stories, so I don't know everything. I can only speak to my experience and the experience I've had with her.
You haven't reached out to her recently?
No, I mean,
You
because I don't think she know,
should.
like, she don't really, I think, like, she knew me for that moment, and then that's it. I mean, I'm sure I could be like, hey, J-Lo, remember me? I'm the girl that works for you. She'll be like, oh, yeah.
I mean,
She's too freaking
maybe,
popping.
maybe
Yeah.
slide in her DMs and just say, "Girl, I'm rooting for you."
Yeah, no. You know what's so funny is that I actually, there was like this Instagram that went viral, and it was like this Latina girl, and she's like, I'm so tired of people talking bad about Jennifer. She was like, can anybody say something good about her? And I don't know the girl. Those things that show up on your explore page.
Mm-hmm.
And I posted my experience, and a lot of people liked it. And then some guy came back and kind of like tried to clap back at me. And he's like, oh, you're only saying that because you work for her. And I was like, I haven't worked for her in 7 years. Like, she doesn't contribute to any of my finances right now. I don't get a check. You know what I mean? I get a check from K-Day. I get a check for my appearances. I get a check when I'm on the phone and I'm negotiating my fee. Like, I'm saying this just because this is my experience. I don't know if you've had an experience with her, and if it was bad, I don't know. I can only speak to my experience, and my experience is not your experience, and your experience is not my experience, and I've learned, and that has been my life. And I think my little, like, I want to say, like, my little MO, as to how I deal with people in the industry, because people will be like, oh my God, like, that person's this, that person's that. I will never judge you off of what somebody says, because I need to judge you off of myself, and I can't allow somebody else's experience to be my experience. My experience has to be CeCe's experience.